Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to review AEW Dynamite. But first, I need you guys to hit the like button for me and subscribe, unless you're already subscribed, in which case, thank you so much for being subscribed. Before we get into Dynamite, though, let's talk about AEW games. So, it was announced on November, I think the 10th, that AEW is going to have a game. I think it's going to be a mobile game. There's also going to be a Uke style, sort of old school, No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000 style game, and they put out some frames or whatever, and it's still in development. And a lot of people have been really excited, and it is an exciting thing. It is not a problem for me. I don't have a problem with that. I do have one concern though. AEW as a brand has been growing really fast. For instance, they just announced their first line of action figures. And these action figures are apparently in production before the show even started. And now the video game is in production. This is only their second year. These are the kinds of moves that usually take years to actually form. You know, to put some thought into, to get the team together. Who's going to be in the game? You know, what is the game going to be like? These sorts of things. And AEW is trying to do all of this stuff really fast. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I'm not going to give my opinion because I don't know the personal business of AEW. It's a private company. You don't know how much they draw as far as T-shirts or not TV ratings, but we know what the TV ratings are. But we don't know what the pay-per-view buys are and things like that. So you have to ask where the money is coming from for this. So you have to say, well, pretty much the money has to come from Tony Khan. So Tony Khan is pretty much paying for the action figures, the video games, and everything else. Now, if you have been with this channel for a while, you'll know that I did a video a couple of weeks ago, because this is being recorded on November the 11th, a little peek behind the curtain. But about Chris Jericho talking about royalties. So they get royalties. Wrestlers will get royalties for being part of this video game. And for being, for these sorts of things that they're doing now, but there's also other business ventures. For instance, wrestlers can do Twitch, and they also do pro wrestling tees. So basically, and I don't know if the company has any sort of deal with pro wrestling tees where they get a cut of what these wrestlers are doing. So it might just be that these guys are off making a ton of money, and the company itself, which is funding all of their side projects like their Twitch channel, because it's free publicity, free marketing for the wrestlers, and it's helping boost their independent costs because they're on TV. Also helping them sell more T-shirts on other things other than AEW shop. So I don't know what their relationship is between the wrestlers and pro wrestling tees and AEW shop or whatever. It's a lot cleaner in WWE because they don't sell products outside of WWE unless it's for a charity or something like that. So you have to ask the question, what is AEW doing? Like, are they really just funding all these side projects for these wrestlers? And that's entirely possible. But, how long was TNA in operation before it had a video game? And I think it only had one video game. How long was TNA in operation before they started having action figures? So you have to think about that. ECW, think the same thing. How long was ECW operating before they started having video games and action figures? Now, I think the video games actually came pretty early. But the action figures, I don't know. Like, I don't know how long it took for them to market the brand this way. And then only once the brand has been sort of established, can you branch out and do video games and branch out and do action figures and all these sorts of things. And in the middle of the pandemic, they're trying to do this, by the way. Like they launched the action figures in the middle of the pandemic. So you have to ask the question, like, who's really putting some thought into this stuff? So, and this is just my opinion, but I think that they're growing a little too fast. It's a bubble. It's a balloon. Let's put it like that. You can blow all the air you want into the balloon, but the balloon is finite. Eventually, the balloon pops. Now, I know AEW says that, we're doing so well. They renewed us on TNT for another 4 years or something like that, which is entirely possible, and I believe them, I believe it. But you still are talking about having to increase the pay. You're going to have to sign more talent. If you want to be on TV this long, you're going to have to sign more talent. And then you also are running pay-per-views. You're getting guys injured because there's like a ton of injuries at every AEW show. There's, and I'm assuming that Tony Khan is paying for their surgeries and things like that. You want to give the company opportunities to monetize as much as possible. Sure, that's the benefit of having these companies and having these likenesses and things like that, is you want to be able to monetize them. But you have to ask, is that money there? And I'm not sure. So if this video game thing does not work, you have to start asking questions. Now, when the pandemic happened, people were talking about how WWE got rid of all of these people and AEW didn't get rid of anybody. But they could very quietly just let certain people go away. They could have just very quietly, when they came to re-signing people, just dropped one of the zeros from the paycheck. They could have just quietly said, "Hey, we need to cut pay." They did a good job of not being a PR nightmare. But you also have a situation where if Tony Khan and his father pretty much is funding this company personally, they could spend endless amounts of money, and until somebody gets tired of spending money. Theoretically, you could just keep spending, but eventually you're going to hit a wall. You're going to be like, okay, we can't keep doing these things. So while I'm glad that they're doing the video game, I do question whether they're growing too fast and eventually going to end up spending more money than they really have. All right, so let's get into AEW Dynamite. Okay, so I like the new intro for AEW Dynamite. It was kind of cool. So the first match was Brian Cage versus Matt Sydal, and I cringed, obviously. I like Matt Sydal. I don't like that he's basically, he wins in the dark, and then as soon as you put him on TV, he just gets jobbed out. So then they mentioned, Taz did a promo, basically told Darby Allin to stay where he is and keep your narrow ass in your seat, and that he respects nobody, and he warned Cody as well, which of course meant that he was going to end up running down to the ring, but at least he didn't do it at the moment. Then he says Taz said something about Matt Sydal pinning Chris Jericho, and that he's no joke. He's no joke. This guy got to win over Chris Jericho. He ain't no joke. I'm like, what was that, like 2005, 2006, or something like that? That shit was like 15 years ago. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I like Matt Sydal. I hate that he's in this position, but it's a decent paying job, man. Can't be mad at a guy for getting a job. I love the finish here though. The finish here was immaculate. So Sydal does a swanton bomb. Cage catches him in midair into the sort of Steiner screwdriver type finish. And it was real solid. That was a great finish. And the finish actually made it worth watching. It was fantastic. And Sydal was able to do his stuff, man. He's not over the hill. He's very good. Then Ricky Starks talked about finally being ranked in the FTW. I guess they're just calling themselves FTW, but they still call themselves Team Taz, obviously. But so he said they will have a presence on the show. So then we get to the Cody Rhodes promo, in which all the things that could happen did happen. It was just, whoa. It was just so much happening. Okay, it was so much happening. So first Cody thanked Darby Allin and then said he will forego his rematch with Darby Allin. Didn't explain why. Just said he will forego his rematch with Darby Allin. He doesn't really want to fight Darby anymore. Instead, he wants to fight MJF. Why? No explanation given. And then some statuesque black woman showed up. Found out her name is Jade Cargill. She's got nice abs. And she starts cutting this promo on Cody, calling him a liar, saying he's lying to the audience. Then she says she's been sitting at ringside scouting her competition. I haven't seen her. They haven't put the camera on her, so I've never seen this woman before. She kind of has a Bianca Belair kind of look to her. And I don't mean like with the hair or anything like that. What I mean is, like her face. Like they look like they could be cousins. Let's put it like that. And I know it's just two black women. So you're like, oh, you think all black women look the same? I'm black. Fuck out of here. But they do kind of come across like cousins. But anyway, she started talking about, she's been scouting her competition. It says that Cody said something about being a giant killer and that, there's nothing giant about him, which is supposed to be like a small dick joke. And she said she knows a real giant and she knows how to wake him. He's a real star or something to that effect. And then she gets up on the ramp and she's like, and that giant, it's Shaq. Like Shaquille O'Neal. And I was just kind of like, that's the big surprise? You're going to have Shaq wrestling? Okay. I mean, it's got to be easy to do because he's already signed the TNT for the NBA stuff. So it's just a crossover. That's all it is. It's just NBA crossover. That's fine. Says a lot about what TNT may be thinking about the ratings, though. If you're going to pull Shaq and put Shaq on the show. But it still might be interesting. I'm not going to attack people for trying to make money. It could be interesting. So after Jade Cargill, cuts this promo, Brandy Rhodes bursts from the tunnel, doing her best Vivica A. Fox imitation, calling her heifers, and she's super loud and ghetto. It is absolutely, I was like, what in the hell? I was like, what the hell? Where did this come from? Where has this Brandy been? Like, and I was just kind of sitting here looking like, okay. Like, it was real fire in that. She said, this is my house, get out of here and don't come back until I send for you. I was like, okay. All right. I like that. I don't like Brandy. Brandy fucking sucks. But this was a different side to her. So it kind of felt like, King Booker would be like, would go from his English accent to his hood accent. That's kind of how it felt. It felt like she was code switching. So I was like, all right. I'm gonna give Brandy a point on this one. She talking to her sister. They talk how sisters talk to each other when they get mad at one another. I can dig that. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Brandy, but I'm going to give her some credit for that one. And she just called her ratchet. She called her heifer. She told her not to disrespect Cody. This woman who did come out there and disrespect her husband. Makes sense. Then Cage attacked Cody from behind, and then Darby left his perch sitting in the balcony to come help him. He's wearing a thumbtack suit, like a fucking goof. He runs the thumbtack suit into several people, and everybody bumps and takes off, and Will Hobbs comes out there. So now they got this tag team match next week. It's going to be Cody and Darby Allin versus Cage and Ricky Starks. So here's my thing. Whenever somebody is about to debut, they always debut against Cody. I don't know how many, when was the last time somebody debuted against somebody else other than Cody? I can't remember. Maybe Miro. When he debuted with Kip Sabian. But almost everybody, Eddie Kingston, who else? I think Matt Sydal, maybe he debuted in that Battle Royal. He didn't debut against Cody. So, but Cody just has to be like the center of attention, the top dog, the one that everybody wants to go after. He didn't even get to explain why he wanted to go at MJF. Nor do I think MJF or the Inner Circle even acknowledged this. I don't remember them acknowledging this promo at all. Like when they was talking about, oh yeah, we're about to go to Vegas or whatever. We'll get there. But they didn't, it wasn't like they were concerned about Cody in the least. Like his beef with Cody at all. But there was just so much happening. Like I was like, okay, I was trying to process Shaq. And then as I was trying to process, okay, Shaq is coming in. That's kind of a surprise. He didn't actually show up, which was upsetting. I would have liked for Shaq to come in at least to stare down Cody. And then Brandy bursts out. She's doing, she's just going full Friday After Next on Jade Cargill. And then while that's happening, Cage comes out. And I'm just like, you have to be ADD to be able to process this. It's just so much happening. It's too much happening. They definitely should have spread this out. Like, Cargill should have cut her promo. And then she should have said, and that giant, it's Shaq. And then we went, then Brian Cage attacked Cody. And then we could have saved Brandy's thing for later that night. Maybe where they try to catch up with Cargill somewhere else. And then Brandy cuts the promo on Cargill and all that type of stuff. But some of this stuff needed to be separate, because I'm still trying to figure out, okay, this chick, this Cargill chick, I mean, she's okay as far as the promo is concerned. She's not bad. I'm evaluating her promo. I'm taking in how she looks, and all that type of stuff. And it was just too much. It was just too much. It was too much coming at one time. I need to separate some of that shit. All right, but it was a decent segment, all in all. I'm not really that thrilled about the Shaq thing, but whatever. It is what it is. So John Moxley cut a promo on Kenny Omega, and he basically talking about, this title represents everybody that's been disenfranchised, all the kids who've been bullied for being a wrestling fan. Like, this motherfucker think he's Dusty Rhodes. He thinks he's Dusty Rhodes. Like, you're trying to appeal to the marginalized and all that. Come on, man. Get out of here. But he says that, Kenny Omega is special. He was one of the best wrestlers of all time, one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he beat him once and he can beat him again. Even though I think that win was non-sanctioned, which technically means it didn't happen. But whatever. And they set up the match for December the 2nd. Now, a lot of people may be kind of confused about that, but it makes sense to me. There are more people who are going to watch Dynamite than will order the pay-per-view. And it seems to make sense to pop a rating on that night. Maybe will it be the last Dynamite of the year? I think they should have did it on the last Dynamite of the year, if we're being honest. So maybe if the Dynamite was going to be, the last Dynamite of the year was going to be, what was it, the 15th or 16th? Maybe they should have did it then and just said, hey, there's not going to be a Dynamite for Christmas. There may not be another Dynamite until January. So you do the big match at the end of the year. But 800 to 1 million people watch Dynamite. Only about a fraction of that, about 10%. 10%? That doesn't sound right. I shouldn't say that. I'm not gonna give percentages because I can't do that math in my head. But only a fraction of that actually order the shows. That doesn't mean that you don't build up to the shows and sell the tickets to the shows and all that type of stuff. But it seems to make sense that you could do the title change on TV. So you want to do something mega for TV. So yeah, go ahead and do it for TV. They're probably going to have most of the show, if not probably 40 minutes of the show is going to be just this match. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to begrudge them for doing a big match on TV. I'm not going to do it. Then there was the Bunkhouse Match, which was the second match on the show after Cody had, I don't know, what was that, 15, 20 minutes to himself? So we had the Bunkhouse Match where, now Dustin's got 20 minutes. The rules are there's no disqualification, but pinfalls and submission can only happen in the ring. There was a lot of blood. There was bloody. There was hay. There was cowbells. There was a ladder. There was some handcuffs. There was a lot of stuff. This match was fine. Ali stabbed QT and the Marshall in the head with some scissors, which actually was more hardcore than anything I saw in Moxley and Kingston. Like, stabbing somebody with some fucking scissors is badass, man. That's nuts. Okay, that's nuts. And Ali playing around in QT Marshall's blood was weird. There was a big spot where Dustin did a bulldog on the butcher from the stage into a box. And the reason why I don't like it is because Dustin had to stop and elicit a fan reaction. Like, come on, everybody make some noise so I can do this big bump. It's like, people didn't really care. And who cares about these teams anyway? Like, who cares about these teams where you've built up what they're doing on Dark that nobody watches? Okay, like, it's fun for the person who's, who is detached from this because you don't know why these guys are fighting. You might hear it in the commentary, but you don't know why they're fighting. And really, do you care? No, not really. You just want to see some blood and people get stabbed. Okay, cool. You get see guys get hit with ladders. Okay, fine. put through a table, cool. You know, it's junk food for the brain. You know, it's like a bag of M&Ms. It didn't mean anything to you. But ultimately, for somebody like me who might want a little bit more meat on the bone, this storyline was built up on Dark, and I don't watch Dark. So I'm like, why is this a blood feud? Because Allie left QT Marshall. I mean, she was married the whole time. Or whatever. So Matt Hardy cuts a promo. Oh yeah, Natural Nightmares won. Okay. So Matt Hardy had to he cut this promo basically about how he had to break Sammy Guevara, how he had to delete Sammy Guevara, he had to make Sammy Guevara obsolete. But he had to do it to make him a better wrestler. And then this was a great line. He said, "Don't squander the gift that I've given you." He said, you know, there's nothing shameful about being beaten by an iconic wrestler like Matt Hardy. You know, he's again mixing personalities and mixing gimmicks. I like this. Unfortunately, Sammy Guevara was doing the same thing Sammy Guevara always does. Didn't change his character at all. Now, when he didn't show up for this whole Inner Circle thing, I thought maybe, okay, cool. You know, we're going to get some type of repackaging, some different focus on Sammy Guevara. Nope. Still going to be Sammy Guevara. Okay. But they did the Inner Circle induction. And this was nothing. This was absolutely nothing. I'm not mystified by MJF as much as everybody else is. I wrote him off as just being the Miz a long time ago. But now they stole this joke from the other guys, right? Where he claims that he wrote a poem during his induction ceremony, during his induction speech, and he starts kicking Drake lyrics in poem fashion. And so Ortiz calls him out like, "Drake, you using Drake lyrics?" And you know, MJF is like, "No, I wrote this. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know who Drake is." And then he goes, you know, back into doing Drake lyrics. And Ortiz is like, "You got to understand, Jericho, this ain't going to work." But the joke from the other guys is basically, you know how, what was it? The police captain kept using TLC songs. And they kept calling him out on it. He kept saying, like, "What are you talking about? You know, I don't know anything about TLC. What's that?" You know, as he uses TLC references. It was silly. It was great. And now, basically, MJF is doing Drake's lyrics. And I was kind of like, okay. But this was dumb. This was just 100% dumb. Like, the point of this is that Jericho is just to get Ortiz and Sammy Guevara not wanting MJF in the Inner Circle on the record. So Ortiz gets to break ranks, and, you know, Jericho has to put him down and say, "Hey, you know, with the mind of MJF and the muscle of Wardlow, the Inner Circle can be better than ever. It could be greater than ever. MJF beat me. He deserves to be here. I take full responsibility for MJF." And he tells Ortiz, "You're going to make it work. You don't have a choice. You're going to make it work." And then MJF starts talking. He celebrates Chris Jericho's birthday, his 50th birthday. Chris Jericho is no longer in the demo. And all of a sudden, so they really should stop calling him the demo guy. And then there's like golden confetti. And then he's talking about, "Oh, I'm taking the Inner Circle to Vegas. Everybody first class. Everybody's going on me to Vegas." And I just keep thinking to myself, they're just going to keep doing stupid skits with this guy every week. Every week, MJF is going to be doing something stupid with Chris Jericho. Now, it would have been perfect for Chris Jericho's birthday if they would have kicked him out of the Inner Circle. You know, if they would have said, "Okay, Jericho, you're an old fogey. You're 50. You need to go home. Fuck out of here. I'm taking over." But I guess we're still building up to that. So then Alex Marvez just wants to talk to the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks. And he asked them what's next. And they gave some foo-foo ass answer about being the best tag team, the top guys and all that shit. They can't fucking talk. Okay, look, we already know they can't talk. They just have to. You know, like some people can't talk, but, you know, they kind of have to because, you know, they got titles or they have some type of thing to push. And essentially the main idea here is that they're the top guys now. They're the best tag team in the world without question. because they've beaten FTR. Of course, they booked themselves to do it, but whatever. And they said they want to give new challenges. They want to face new opponents, which I like this part. And they said they were emailed or met on Instagram that this team called Top Flight. They're a pair of brothers, and they want an opportunity. And so the Young Bucks are going to give Top Flight an opportunity. And I think, okay, cool. Then I hear, oh, they've been working on AEW Dark. And I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. That means they're not new. That means they're not. Sure, the Young Bucks have never wrestled them before, I'm guessing. But if they've been on Dark wrestling in the broom closet, then they're not really new. By the way, I heard that Devon's sons were a tag team now. That Devon has twin boys. Man, I wonder which one of them gets the tables. I really do. I want to know which one of them gets the tables. So then they had this long-ass match between Shawn Spears and Scorpio Sky, and nobody cared. Look, if you care about Shawn Spears, man, God bless you. I don't give a fuck about Shawn Spears. I don't think the sun shines on an ass that cares about Shawn Spears. Nobody cares about Shawn Spears. Nobody. I doubt even Shawn Spears cares about Shawn Spears. So then they try to catch up with Kenny Omega because he's a big star now. I heard he's a superstar. That's what I heard on the internet. I heard he's a superstar. In any event, Kenny Omega says that, his promo actually was coherent. It was kind of stagey, but it was fine, I guess. It was what it was. But basically he says that, he feels Moxley took the number one position in pro wrestling away from him. That, being the best in the world is a responsibility, and he stepped away from it, but now he's ready to reassume being the best in the world. And that, this is going to be, they've never had a real wrestling match before in a ring with regular wrestling rules. This will be the first time they're 0-0. So they're going to have a real wrestling match with real wrestling rules. I'm like, okay, fine. It was a little too long. You really should have just kept it short. Kenny Omega shouldn't be doing so much talking. But just get the title on this guy. Just get the belt on him. I don't know what you do with Moxley. I don't care. Just put the belt on Omega and let's get this thing over with. I mean, people have been waiting on this shit for a year. Let's just get it over with. So Tainara Conti had a match with Red Velvet. And Red Velvet was announced as straight out of your mama's kitchen. Or out of your mama's kitchen or something like that. And I kept thinking to myself, like, is she like green beans? Is she like cornbread? I mean, the girl's cute and all, but I don't know. Can she, is she a pan of Jiffy? That's cornbread. Like, I don't know what that means. What does it mean she's coming out of your mama's kitchen? Is she soul food? Oh, okay. And then she was doing her little stir it up thing, and she was trying to get Brandy to stir it up with her, but Brandy was still moody off the Cargill thing, and I didn't care who won this match, but Tainara Conti wins because, of course, she did. Red Velvet is a jobber. I really would like for her to talk once or twice on TV, just to show that she can talk and that she has a voice. I find it really bizarre that Jade Cargill got to talk and Red Velvet never got to talk on TV. That seems weird. That seems weird to me. So then Sammy Guevara shows up. He's mad at the Inner Circle. He's mad at MJF, really. Because MJF told him to meet him at the beach. So he went to the beach and then missed the induction ceremony. And MJF swore to him, that it was a second email telling him to meet him. They were going to meet at the ring. And then Guevara is angry. You didn't send any second email. I only got one email. And then he, of course, gets mad, and Jericho tells him to stuff it, relax. We're all going to Vegas, and MJF gives him a ticket. And I said to myself, why would he be going to the beach? Do Sammy Guevara not know it's Wednesday and that he needs to be at work at 8 o'clock? How could you not know that? You work there. How do you not know what time the show starts? Oh, I was supposed to meet you at the beach. Motherfucker, it's 9:45. What are you doing? Well, it probably wasn't 9:45. It was probably more like 9:25. What are you doing? You don't know what time you have to be at work. You work here. The show starts at 8, which means you probably have to be here at like 2 in the afternoon for rehearsals and everything. How are you so late? Oh yeah, AEW don't insult your intelligence at all. But whatever, they're just trying to get again Sammy Guevara on the record as not wanting MJF in the group. Fine. So then we get Penta El Zero M versus Phoenix, the rematch. They got the main event, which I was surprised. Very surprised they got the main event. And these two guys can work. I love both these dudes. But I have to admit, it was a little too close to their last match. And I kind of tuned out a little bit. I did see them ripping each other's masks. And, they're being a little bit physical, really nailing each other, trying to put Pete Puma bumps on each other's heads. Eddie Kingston was on commentary earlier in the night. He cut a promo. Well, right before this match, he cut a promo about he didn't want people chanting his name. He know what his name is, and he's never going to give up, or he's never going to stop. He's going to be world champion one day, and admitted John Moxley made him quit. It was stupid. Eddie Kingston is completely impotent now. So then, after the package pile driver and Penta wins, we get them. Eddie Kingston trying to force Phoenix and Penta to shake hands, and here comes Pac. This was the big thing. This was the big reveal. The big reveal is that Pac is out actually in person, and now he's mad at Eddie Kingston for reasons unknown. Eddie Kingston didn't spread coronavirus and keep you tracked in England. He didn't steal your stable. These guys are apparently, we've been told week after week after week that Penta and Eddie Kingston are best friends. Of course, they will team up with Eddie Kingston. Shouldn't you come in and join the team instead of coming in to fight Eddie Kingston? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But Kingston and Pac had to have a pull apart. They were about to brawl. They were about to fight. I don't know why. Just because Pac was angry. Angry about what? I don't know. We didn't get that far. But the match between Penta and Phoenix was pretty good. From what I actually sat down and watched. Then I kind of spaced out a little bit. I saw Phoenix do some torpedo flying things and all that type of stuff. And it was fine. It wasn't nothing bad. It wasn't the shits. But it was pretty much really, really good lucha. But it was an okay episode of Dynamite. Well, I shouldn't even say that because I didn't care about Tanya, Conti, and Red Velvet, even though I do kind of like Red Velvet. I don't give a shit about Shawn Spears. I don't give a shit about the Butcher and the Blade. That match was fine just because it was bloody and that type of stuff happened. I was interested in what the Jade Cargill and Cody and all them what they were doing. That stuff was fine. And Cage and Sydal had a great finish to a fairly solid match. So it was a solid show. Just skip over Shawn Spears and Scorpio Sky. That shit's non-canon. It doesn't matter. Skip over Tanya Conti and Red Velvet. Unless you got a crush on Red Velvet, then, watch that. But, most of the show was actually not bad. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video. Share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.